are overwhelmed with agents everywhere. Before I get into this particular discussion about AI agents, I want to take you back in time where it all started. In 1950, Alan Turing published a paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. And one question drove the entire paper. Can machines think? The imitation game, or what we call the Turing test, is all about whether these machines can pretend to be something they are not, pretending to be humans. Today, 76 years later, the machines are very, very good at pretending. So good that we have the opposite question of what Turing asked. Can machines be trusted to be deployed into our environments? So this trust problem is no longer philosophical. It's an infrastructure problem. It's a deployment problem. It's an identity and access management problem. And that's what we are here to talk about. Who are you is the oldest question in security that we have been solving for humans first and then for the services. And to be able to trust the computers that can think, or the AI agents, we need to solve that question for the AI agents. And that's what I am doing at WSO2. During this discussion, I'm going to keep WSO2 aside until the very end, and I want to discuss a framework that you can take home and apply against whatever the stack that you are using to build your enterprise AI journey. Talking about AI adoption, it's already happening. And whatever the number it is, it's bigger than what it was in last quarter. Gartner predicts the task-specific AI adoption will jump from 5% in 2025 to 40% by the end of this year. And the McKinsey chart on my left makes it clearer. But at the same time, if you look at the numbers below, that shows how vulnerable our enterprise systems already are. In 2025, of all the organizations that had AI-specific breach, didn't have any controls around their AI adoption. And in the rush of adopting AI into their enterprises, employees are using shadow AI that the security teams are not aware of. And that's a very high risk. So the adoption is exploding, but our controls have not kept up. And that's what we are going to talk about during the next couple of minutes. So this is a frame I want you to keep in mind for the rest of this discussion. And it needs to go full screen. Never mind. So okay, looks good, I think. Something's happening at the back. No worries, but I can continue. So agents are not mere tools in your organization. They are not simple chatbots. They are actually workers. They get invoked by different parties like humans, other machines, other applications, and even other agents through different channels like chat interfaces, CLIs, event hooks, or even get spawned through scheduled tasks. And then they talk to AI models like Anthropic, Gemini, or in-house deployed open source models. And obviously, they need access to your internal business systems. And more increasingly, we see that agents are getting access to the external systems that you have purchased, like Google, GitHub, ServiceNow, and so on and so forth. And they spawn up sub-agents that do the same. Imagine if a contractor comes into your organization, and on the day one, they ask for an unscoped, never expiring key to all the services that you own. So the answer is a hard no. But we do the exact same thing with AI agents and call it productivity. So agents are accessing our APIs, they have access to our data, they make decisions, and increasingly they delegate tasks to other agents. So they are a task force, and we have not given them the identity infrastructure that such task force requires. So the obvious next question or our intuitiveness is, why can't we just simply point it to our existing IAM system, because we have a very good one? The answer is not a simple yes or no. Let's see why. So the IAM solutions that we are familiar with are human-centric, and they are built on top of the assumptions that are no longer valid for the AI agents. For example, human is a resource-owning decision-making subject, and an application is a client that invokes other APIs and services. An API is a resource that needs to be governed its access to. An AI agent is all three of them at once. And if we take a service or application, they have a predefined flow. But if we take an agent, they have a goal. To go to that goal, their execution flow is decided at the runtime. And if we take a particular single agent harness or agent implementation and point it to two different AI models, their behaviors will be completely different. So we have classes of agents and instances of agents. So which one we are going to govern and give an identity to? And everything changes fast in the agentic domain. The technology stack change, the speed of agents execution change, and the tools available to the agents are changing. And the permissions that the agents need are very, very dynamic, because they figure out things at runtime dynamically. We have a very solid IAM construct today that solve these problems in isolation. But we need a shift to solve those questions for this new breed of actors in our system holistically. So let's make it concrete, and let's take a agent X. So this agent X is every enterprise agent that you have deployed. It could be answering to support tickets and assisting customers, or summarizing your financial data, or maybe hooked into a GitHub workflow for fixing bugs. Let's put this agent into trial and see whether it can answer these questions. Who onboarded you to the system? How do we know it's you? And what are you able to do? What permissions do you have? And can you prove what you did and what you just did? So if every agent in your organization can answer all these questions, you are ahead of most in the industry. But unfortunately, what we've seen is that many agents fail to answer these questions. So what are we going to do about that? How we tackle that? So this is the framework I want to talk about. The 4S framework. It's not a product. It's a strategy that you can evaluate your IAM solution for the agents and build it upon. So we call it 4S because every pillar starts with the A. We call it administer, authenticate, authorize, and audit. I'm pretty sure that it was introduced by Geeks during the keynote as well, but let me go a bit more in detail into what it is. First thing is administration. So it's about governing the agent's existence. So even during the keynote sessions and the morning sessions, everybody was talking about governing the agent. So before giving any access to the agent into your system, we need to identify its existence and mark it somewhere. So give them an identity in your identity infrastructure or the identity provider, and then start governing its life cycle from day one. And have a human user accountable for for every agent in your system, so that if something goes wrong, you know who to blame, as well as there's someone who will be taking responsibility for that agent's task and outcomes. And most importantly, have a kill switch, so that if something goes wrong, you can revoke its access instantly and prevent it doing it further. And then you can take remediation actions. And when you administer all the agents in your system properly, so you will have a dashboard showing who are the active agents in your system at this time, and who are the accountable parties for them, and what are their purposes and what they are doing in the system. So this is one of the core problems that enterprises have today, that they don't know how many agents are running in their system and what they are doing. The second pillar is authenticate. So give them a credential that they can prove who they are when they are making a tool call. And at every edge that they are making a call, validate only the authorized parties, whether it's a user or whether it's an agent, can get in. And give them machine-friendly credentials and use existing infrastructures like MTLS, workload identities, and so on. And any tokens that go in the wire, make sure they are short-lived tokens. And when the agent become a resource that are invoked by other parties, the authentication flip side. So allow only the, whether it's human or whether it's a service, allow only those who are authorized to access the agent to be able to invoke the agent. Otherwise, agents will be the next backdoor or the next loophole that will leak the data in your enterprise. And this is the most important pillar, the authorized pillar. So it's about what agent can do. For the agents can get privileges of its own to do particular tasks. For the low risk environment, low hanging things, we can directly give them assign them permissions and let them to do things on their own. And there are cases where agents are working on behalf of users. On such cases, the agents will work on delegated permissions by the other users or even by other agents. So in such cases, the privileges that the agent gets should not exceed whatever the delegator has. Otherwise, again, that will be a place where it can get compromised, and users who shouldn't have access to some of the resources will get access to through the agent. And on the resource side, have very fine-grained level, tool level, permission levels, so that those can be assigned to the purpose-built agent only for their particular purpose. So you don't have to give access to all the tools for all the agents, only the access to the particular tools that particular agent requires. And for the high-risk environment, high-risk actions and invocations, they have human in the loop verification, so that there's a human taking the decision and going forward. And last but not least, the audit is about tracing who did what, when, and why. So if your identity infrastructure enables you to give the agent an identity, and give the agent an identity, auditing becomes more easier. So when a request reaches the resource side, you know who is making a call, so that you can, even when it's done on behalf of a user, if those requests and the tokens carry those information about the agent, we are able to audit who's the agent acting on whose behalf, through which application, when, and why. And those information are useful for detecting any anomalies, for the forensic requirement, and if something goes wrong, to be able to trace back the request flow and take remediations around that. So let's see how the 4As can be applied for the agent ecosystem that we discussed at the very beginning. So start by giving an identity to each and every agent. So let me discuss our WSO2 agent identity solution here. We have a way to, we believe that every agent deserves a first-class identity in the system. They are first-class citizens. So you can start by giving them an identity and govern them and giving them and administering them. And every edge that you see is a place to apply, authenticate, authorize, and audit. Validate any incoming request to the agent, and only allow those who are authorized to access the agent and block others. And then increasingly we see that the requirement of having an AI gateway in place when the agents need to talk to the LLM. So having that, we can apply more agent-aware guardrails at the AI gateway, because agent can talk to the AI gateway with its own authentication, and then we can apply guardrails at that level, and then send the request to forward the request to the LLM, and we have the visibility around what agent is doing. And it's non-negotiable that these requests going from agents to the internal system need to be authenticated, authorized, and audited. And this edge that agents are talking to the external systems is increasingly become very important. Nowadays, what we do is we get an API key from these third parties and directly embed it into the agent. Afterwards, you don't have any visibility what this agent is doing, what it's calling Google for, what it's calling GitHub for. So we recommend that you have an egress gateway there. So all the external traffic will go through that gateway that you have control over. And of course, that allows you not to give the keys directly to the agent, but you have an intermediate party who can attach the necessary tokens to the external service. And the request coming from agent to the egress can always be governed and managed, and the policies can be applied there. Same goes to the agent to sub-agent request as well. So if you think you have to do everything by next week, so most likely you won't be getting anything done. So face it. Start by creating inventory of what you have today. So it's very important how many agents are running in your system, and I'm pretty sure that most organizations don't know, because not all the agents are running, agents that have access to your systems are running in your deployed infrastructure. Some of them might be running in your employees' machines as well. So make an inventory, assign a human owner for them so that there's a responsible party, and categorize them and understand what are the risks associated with them, and evaluate the permissions levels that you have given to them. And most importantly, educate your teams. So everybody is in a rush. Now we are in a hype of AI adoption, and they want to do something with the AI. So so the employees might give access their personal keys to the agents, and we have increasingly seen that that is one of the reasons for the recent news where agents leaking data, agents deleting databases, and so on and so forth. So start with that, and then incrementally go into centralized identity, streamlined access, having audits, agent-aware audits, and then eventually having dynamic context-aware authorizations for the agent, having a egress gateway, and so on and so forth. And keep evaluating your system and keep improving it as you go along and as you are onboarding more and more agents into the system. And also, when you are deploying agents, it's important that you start with low-risk agents and then incrementally onboard more and more agents, going it through the and assess it to the security team and then get the approval to deploy them. So these are some field notes that I've been from the things that I've been seeing in repeatedly seeing what the organizations are doing. So on that side, definitely no do's, and this side, things that will help you build a better IAM infrastructure for your system. So one of the main items I want to highlight is this over-permissioning on the dawn side. So it's agents getting access to the things that they don't need access, and getting API keys with blanket permissions are one of the most common mistakes that organizations are doing today. So don't do it. So let me show that this 4S framework is not just an architectural framework, it's a defense system as well. So this is the summary of OWASP top 10 for agentic AI. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll highlight a couple of these risks and how the 4S can be used to remediate those things. So the tool misuse and exploitation. So it's about compromising an agent to agent to use a tool and get a destructive outcome. But if you have authorization in place, if you validate or authenticate the requesters that are coming into the tools, then you can easily remediate that. And another one is this identity and privilege abuse. If you have two agents sharing the same service account, or if you have two agents sharing the same API keys, so you already have it. So give unique distinct identities for each and every of these agents and have them their own authentication mechanisms to the system so that you know who is who. And this last one, rogue agents in your enterprise. So that's a nightmare scenario, right? So having administration in place, you know who are the agents that you have deployed into your organization. And and you can authenticate it so you know that who's making calls. And authorize them so you can bound it to particular scope. And then have audits so you can trace what it does. So risk assessment is not easy in AI agents. And if you take any of the risk and apply for ACE and go through it, then you will find what are your gaps. So having said that, IAM is essential and it's non-negotiable, but not all the issues or the risk in the agentic system can be addressed by IAM only. We need other controls like proper guardrails, having evals, observability. So that's what we've been discussing all throughout this conference. That's why we have a product stack that help you do that, and that works in harmony with our agent identity solution. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. So there's standards and protocols around the agentic stack, and there's more coming. So there are more standards and more protocols are emerging. So if you take MCP, it's the way that how agents find tools and invoke them. A2 is how agents talk to each other. So we can apply 4As on top of these protocols, and we can apply our existing OIDC standards as standards to implement the 4As on top of your agentic systems. And there are some of other things that you can go home and look out that will be interesting for you to keep track of. And the agentic domain is evolving, so is the IAM domain as well. The identity professionals, the identity communities working together to keep up with the phase and make sure that the agents that we deployed can be trusted and secure, and we can securely onboard them into our organizations. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there because this is evolving as well. So one area is to keep an eye on is this intent-based authorization instead of static role-based or attribute-based access. Now we are looking at authorizing based on the intent. So what's the agent is going to do? What's its goal? What's its purpose? For what intent are you giving it permission? So based on that, agent will be able to perform actions and access resources and call APIs. So this is your take-home list. If you don't remember anything, just remember this slide. Agents are first-class citizens in your organization. They deserve a first-class identity. Use the 4S framework, administer, authenticate, authorize, and audit to assess your IAM infrastructure for the agents and build the IAM infrastructure for the agents. Everything, including the protocols, are evolving, so build for the adaptability. And IAM is necessary, but it's not enough. Have all the other guardrails that you require to securely deploy agents into the system. And identity or the security is not an afterthought. So start now and do it fast. So at WSO2, we have built our agent identity solution on top of this all 4As, along with our decades of expertise of expertise in building IAM solutions for users, services, and applications. So we can help you build your identity infrastructure for your agents, and come talk to us. We'll be here around. And there are some resources that you can refer more about our agent identity solution, and more about what's happening in the domain as well. And thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, I can take.